Welcome to Conversation with the Community Leader, brought to you by the Leadership Kitsap Foundation. I'm your host and LK alum, Dave Walters. With me today is Denita Holmes. Denita is one of the 7 elected Suquamish Tribal Council members. So thank you for coming. It's great to have you here. Besides being on the tribal government, Denita is an artist using wool weaving and cedar basketry, and was recently awarded the GAP Award from the Washington Artists Trust Foundation, and is a cultural activities coordinator for the Squamish Tribe. She's one of Kitsap County's 20 under 40 business leaders awards recipient, and of course is a graduate from Leadership Kitsap. So thank you for coming. Mm-hmm. So we have lots to talk about today, but before we talk about tribal government, let's talk about you. So are you originally from Suquamish?
I am. I was born and raised on the Port Madison Indian Reservation, and moved away just for about a year, and then came back and started my family here.
Oh, okay. And then, so what was your educational background?
I first went to Suquamish Elementary. And
okay,
then,
so did I.
Yeah.
Great.
And then I went to Kingston Junior High.
Okay, it wasn't around when I was there, okay. So okay.
And then moving on up to North Kitsap High School, I was actually in a small satellite school called Polaris during my whole high school, and then it dissolved after that.
Oh, okay.
I learned better in small classroom settings, so that was perfect for me. And then I moved on to my AA. I went to Northwest Indian College, Evergreen State College for my bachelor's, and then I just graduated last year with my master's in education from the University of Washington.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a lot of hard work, especially as an adult going back to school.
Yes.
With children, so that's a tough job. So what is your work experience?
I have worked for the tribe since I was 18. Well, actually 15. I did I did summer youth.
Okay.
And then
they have a great summer youth program.
Oh yeah. And bounced around from IT to maintenance and as a youth, and then my whole career path has led me to education. So I worked for our early learning center. I worked at our youth activities, and then I moved on to Chief Kitsap Academy. I was a teacher for about 5 years,
okay.
And then until I got this position.
Okay, so were you at the start of the Chief Kitsap Academy? That had been about time it was starting, right?
Not quite. I was a few years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that does 6th grade through high school, correct?
Yes.
Is that 6th through high? All right. And then, so your tribal council.
Yes.
Have you always wanted to be on the tribal council?
I have always wanted to as a youth, and then as a young adult, I was really pushing my peers to be on council. And for all the reasons, they weren't quite ready yet. It could be education or families. And honestly, I wanted to step up because I looked up to my peers so much, and I wanted, they were my role models. So I knew that I wanted to step up too. So I did step up.
It's a 3-year term,
yes,
correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and you're in your first term?
Yes.
So you've done it for 2 years now, I think you said?
Yeah, and my term is up in March.
Okay.
And then how the terms are, we get elected by the governing body of the Suquamish Tribe, 18 and older, and and then you just get elected in. And
it's a demanding job.
It is.
Because the Suquamish Tribe does everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you have all the services, businesses, government, a police force.
Yes.
I mean, the tribe has everything that the county has.
Yeah.
In partnership with the county. So what are some of the roles of the Suquamish Tribal Council?
We oversee all of our membership, and our roles are very vast. So there's 7 of us, and each of us have a liaison over certain fractions of the government. So wellness, police, human services, health benefits. Our clinic is one of our new ventures that we got into. And so it's not all just on all of us, one person. It's spread amongst all of us. So we balance it out that way. So
how many tribal members are there?
we have a little over 1,200. What's interesting about our tribe is last year we just lowered our blood quantum from 1/8 to 1/16. Yep. And so we will see a small influx right now of new membership enrolling from children all the way up to elders.
And then so not just tribal members, but also their families, correct?
Right.
So a non-tribal member spouse would be included, or kids would be included.
They would be included in some benefits.
Right, in some of the benefits, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so tribal council, is that full-time job, part-time job, full-time plus?
Yeah, it's we have 2 council members that are full-time. We have our chairman, Leonard Forsman, and our vice chairman, Josh Bagley. The rest of us are part-time as needed whenever our liaison positions need to fulfill certain committees and boards.
And then, so you just, we were going to have you on last month, but that was in the middle of the canoe trip.
Yes.
And you were the organizer.
I was, yeah.
So tell us about the canoe trip.
So the canoe journey, a little background is it's a potlatch, and a potlatch is where people come to Suquamish and we feed the people, we host the people, and by people I mean all tribes that do travel to our waters, and potlatches host them for X amount of days. Sometimes it's 4 or 5, and that's Puyallup's job this last year. Our job is 1 day since we're a one-stop, and we had a little over maybe 3,000 people come to Suquamish.
All by canoe?
Most by canoe, and then
really?
All of their ground crew, their tents and everything, obviously by cars.
And then did you actually physically canoe?
I didn't this year.
But you have done it?
Yes. Yeah, I've done it since I was 15, so a little over 20 years.
Is it an annual event?
It is. It can be.
Okay.
It's getting a little bit bigger. It's getting bigger and bigger each year. And a lot of the smaller tribes can't. It was supposed to be a house-it this year. And we knew that their infrastructure in a house-it up to North Van wasn't going to be the best. So they had to.
So where is the canoe trip? Is it all the way up the Puget Sound and into Canada?
Yeah, well, it starts wherever they are from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a convergence thing.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, wow,
so
that's
coastal
exciting.
tribes start from the coast, and we are just right smack down in the middle of the Puget Sound, so we're only 2 stops away from Puyallup.
Oh, wow. And then, so as your the cultural coordinator,
Yes.
what does that entail?
I do a lot of workshops for our tribal members. So if they need new regalia or they want to learn, my expertise and skills are, from teachings from my teachers. And so I teach the membership how to do these traditional skills. And so that's one part of it. I organize Suquamish song and dance groups to go to different venues. Some people would want.
They perform all over the county.
Yeah, we do. And in the bigger events, we have 2 powwows in Suquamish. Our renewal powwow is a sobriety powwow, and then Chief Seattle Days is always the 3rd weekend of August. So, yeah.
And Chief Seattle Days has gone from big to small, from big to small, over the last 40 years.
Right.
But it's always been a consistent, really good celebration.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you're facing as a tribal council member?
Our challenges are, our people have been in poverty for a while, and building our membership, building our people up from out of that is one of the biggest challenges we've had to do in the last 20 years. And now that we are working on building up our government, and with having a beautiful thing of lowering our blood quantum as we have more of our membership, our biggest challenge is to try to fulfill the needs of everybody.
Okay. And I know with your business side, right? You have the fisheries, or the hatcheries, the fishing industry
Right.
that you have, and your seafood store.
Yes.
Which is amazing. People should
Yeah.
go to that.
Yes.
And then, of course, the casino and other things you have. You also provide a lot of jobs.
We do, yeah.
And not only to tribe members, right? I mean,
Right.
I think it was like 70% of your workforce is non-tribal members.
Yeah.
I think that's what I saw somewhere.
Yeah. I think that might be correct.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But so you employ a lot of people,
We do.
which brings in a lot of money for the tribe for your services.
Yes.
So what efforts are you doing then? You're right to meet your biggest challenge of really elevating everyone's lives. So I know you have a new medical center.
Yeah, we do. So we just opened up our clinic last year.
Okay, that was super recent. Okay.
Yes, and we have 3 doctors now. We just hired our 3rd doctor. And so, yeah, that's one avenue. And growing our business enterprises, PME just opened up a small store in Bremerton, and then they're going to open up Bond and Gunderson, which is a gas station.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And so to get into like some of the business part, those taxes on those items, the taxes fund our education, they fund our wellness programs, they fund employees and programs. So that's what we rely on is the taxes from the sales.
Right. I mean, the federal government doesn't send you big fat checks.
No, they don't.
They don't. I mean, you have to come up with your own
Right.
your own funding and your own as part of that. I think that's kind of a misnomer that people have.
Yeah.
Okay, what are other misnomers that that people may have of the tribe? One thing that I don't think people realize, the Squamish Tribe touches the entire Kitsap County.
Right.
They're one of the biggest philanthropers we have, and the giving back to the community is really second to none in our county. What are some of the misconceptions that we have?
Well, we have over 30 village sites, so we don't only just touch Kitsap County. We go to Vashon Island, up
see, I
to
didn't know that.
Whidbey,
Okay,
to Belfair.
interesting.
Yeah. So our UNA is pretty vast. Yeah. And another common misconception about Indigenous people is that we don't pay our taxes in general. So I do pay my taxes.
I was gonna say I know
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so what's next for you guys? What's kind of the next thing?
Right now, we are acquiring more land. We're having to buy back land. So, and that is whether it's going to be for housing. Right now, we are just finishing up our Enitai townhomes.
Okay.
And so that will help our ever need for housing.
Right. Which again, that's a community need in the whole county.
Yeah. And so our PME is helping us buy some land, so we will have a plan for the future. So 10, 20, 30 years from now. Right now, we don't exactly know what we're going to do with it, but we're going to assess the needs of our membership and see what they want to.
So that's a kind of a unique way of thinking, right? Because you don't necessarily think as a business on how do I make my profit this year, right? Because you're thinking way long term.
Yeah.
That's got to be a little scary, knowing that as a council member that you're worried about generations down the road.
Right.
How do you kind of formulate your plans on that?
I guess it's everything from like social to like health to our children. It's
So kind of everything you do, you have to build in sustainability.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, for like your school, right? When you finally got the school, how do we make that forever? Your recent health center,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's going to be now forever.
Right.
Is the way you plan things, And then buying back land, that's got to be kind of a tough thing to do, especially in Kitsap County. You know,
Right.
we're a peninsula. You know, it's not getting any bigger.
Right.
There's only so much land out there. That's got to be a pretty good challenge for you.
It is.
So, how can the community get involved?
There's many ways. So we have our emergency management that handles all of like the volunteer and outreach. So it could be through that aspect. It could be through culturally, helping us prepare for these big events. It could be just helping other local businesses and governments know that we're still here.
Okay.
And we love to collaborate. Our department, our tribe loves to collaborate with everyone, and just to keep us in mind and build those partnerships.
So, besides shopping at some of your businesses, the museum is
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a great educational piece that people could go to and to learn more about the tribe.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, so your art. Let's talk about your art a little bit, because it's beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Yeah. So as a youth, we had programs that helped our youth learn from our elders, and now some of those elders are gone. So it's having to continue that art practice, and we just kind of grew from there. Me and my husband. I'm fortunate to have a very supportive husband who will help me gather the materials to gather the cedar from the tree. And not just that, we have to wait a year, is one of our teachings, is after we peel the tree at a certain amount of time, certain right time, we have to let it sit for 1 year. And so it's a waiting game. It's also a teaching that we have. And yeah, we're fortunate to have family and friends who share our artwork. One of my friends actually was living down in San Francisco and pursuing her artist career, her music career. And she happened to be in touch with producers of Grey's Anatomy. So one of my art pieces got on one of the episodes
That's
of the
exciting.
show. Yeah. So we're just fortunate to have people that help us in many ways to
And then,
promote.
do you also teach your weaving craft?
We do. So besides my full-time job, my husband and I, we teach classes for many different tribes too. So they work with us, and we will just do a random class on a random weekend whenever we have time, and those fill up pretty quick.
Oh, I bet. I bet they're probably pretty popular.
Yeah.
So, moving a little bit to leadership, did you have a mentor?
I had a
Growing
lot.
up?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
everybody's answer. Is I think successful people always have multiple mentors throughout their lives and career.
Yeah. And some of them, most of them were actually just relatives that were just a little bit older than me. Like my sister is one of them, and my older cousins and my aunts. And I view these women and these men as very powerful people growing up, and that has never changed. And so, yeah, I've had many teachers and many tribal leaders, and mostly family.
And it sounds like you're also reach back yourself
Yeah.
to mentor other people.
Right. Yeah.
We had talked a little bit before we started taping about encouraging people to jump into the council or into the government or be more involved in the tribe. How do you get other people involved?
Encouraging them, bringing them with me to all of these events. And public speaking wasn't my strongest suit. It isn't my strongest suit, but it's something that I'm actively and always encouraging myself to do better at. And that might be one of the biggest things that our membership are facing, is just, how do I speak in front of hundreds or thousands of people? And you just do it, and you learn from your mistakes, and then you grow from there. So, yeah.
How do you develop your staff then? I mean, you don't really have a giant staff, but
Yeah.
but how do you develop your folks?
Well, we have we actually just had a parent come to me and ask me to help uplift one of their children.
Okay.
So we brought that youth with us to a big event last week that we had over in Seattle, and just encouraging them and uplifting their spirits mostly, and encouraging them to.
I think one thing I have seen on doing these interviews with leaders and developing people, whether it be youth or newer employees or even older employees, is to drag them along with you. And that seems to be a very effective way. You're not the
Yes.
first leader that's been on the show that uses that as an example of
Yeah.
what they do. I think a lot of people don't do that, and I think it's best to see let someone see how you do good or how you do bad, but at least see how you how you think. They may not. I always say you don't have to teach them how to think like you, but I at least want you to understand how I got to this conclusion.
Right.
You'll
Yeah.
come to your own. So super encouraging. What advice do you give your emerging leaders? What advice do you give your young folks?
To even, like, I guess my own children.
Okay.
I have 3 children. One of them is in high school now, and it's to don't be afraid to speak. Speak your mind, and don't be afraid to sit in any of these leadership roles, from youth council to committees and boards, and just get yourself out there.
Get yourself out there and speak, because everybody's got something important to bring to the table.
Right.
So I'd like to thank you for all the amazing thing the tribe does for the community. What they do for themselves, what they do for all of us is just very important, and it really makes Kitsap unique and very special. Please visit suquamish.nsn.us, and of course leadershipkitsap.org for more information about the Suquamish Tribe and about Leadership Kitsap. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to next time on Conversation with a Community Leader.